Sages take Lord Shiva's refuge ashamed. The sages requested Lord Brahma to tell them the way to pacify Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma assured them that they would be forgiven if they took Lord Shiva's refuge. Lord Brahma went to Kailash Parvat accompanied by all the sages. After reaching there, he eulogized Lord Shiva with deep devotion. The sages also worshipped Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was satisfied by their eulogy and devotion. He instructed the sages to establish the severed ling at Sanihitya Sarovar. By doing this, you would have all your desires fulfilled. The ling would become famous by the name of Sthanu the whole world. A devotee who pays a visit to this sacred place of pilgrimage would become liberated from all his sins, said Lord Shiva. The sages returned to the place of Lord Shiva's fallen ling. They tried their best to lift it but were unsuccessful in their attempt. They became worried and went to Lord Brahma for help. Lord Brahma told them, since Shiva's ling had fallen on his own will, hence nobody except him can lift that ling. All of them went back to Kailash Parvat, but Lord Shiva was nowhere to be found. Lord Brahma went into a state of deep meditation and sighted Lord Shiva in the guise of an elephant. When Brahma and the deities proceeded on their way, they found a goddess with a kamandalu in hand and offered them amrit. After being refreshed, the sages asked whether she knew of Lord Shiva's whereabouts. She told them that Lord Shiva was presently living in the middle of Sanihitya Sarovar. After reaching the reservoir, they found Lord Shiva in the guise of an elephant. They requested him to help them establish his ling at the desired place. Lord Shiva agreed. All of them then went to the site of Lord Shiva's fallen ling. He lifted it with his trunk and established it towards the west of Sanihitya Sarovar. The sages were satisfied and expressed their gratitude to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, pleased by their eulogy and devotion, decided to make the ling as his abode. Greatness of Sthanu Tirtha. The greatness of Sanihitya Sarovar and Sthanu Tirtha. Sanat Kumar says, describing the greatness of Sanihitya Sarovar, Lord Shiva told the sages that a devotee cannot attain salvation unless he pays a visit to this sacred place of pilgrimage. There is no other tirtha like this one. I would be easily accessible to a devotee who worships me with total devotion. After saying this, Lord Shiva disappeared. In course of time, the heaven became crowded with human beings due to virtues attained by going on pilgrimages to Sthanu Tirtha. The deities became worried at this development and went to seek Lord Brahma's help. Indra said, if things continue like this, then the heaven will be dominated by mortals and we will have no option but to move out from there. Now, it's your duty to protect us. Lord Brahma ordered Indra to fill up Sanihitya Sarovar with mud so that the Sthanu ling gets concealed and devotees no longer visited that sacred place of pilgrimage. Sanihitya Sarovar was filled up with mud as Indra created a dust storm, which lasted for several days. But still Indra's objective remained unfulfilled as Lord Shiva lifted Sthanu ling and Tirthavata, banyan tree, in his hands. There were some sages present on the bank of Sanihitya Sarovar at the time of this incident. They smeared their bodies with that mud and due to this, all of them went to Brahma Loka. Other prominent lingas. Sanat Kumar says, the sacred places of pilgrimage named Shukra Tirtha and Soma Tirtha are situated towards north and south of Sthanuvata respectively. Daksha Tirtha is situated towards its south and Skand Tirtha towards its west. The sacrosanct Sthanu Tirtha is situated just in between all these four places of pilgrimage. Near Sthanu Tirtha is a Shiva Linga and goddess Uma dwells there. There is a Mahalinga established by Takshak towards the north of Sthanuvata, while the Shiva Linga constructed by Vishwakarma is established towards the east. By the side of that banyan tree, Vata Tirtha, is situated Betshwar Linga, which was established by Lord Brahma. Some other prominent lingas established in the vicinity of Sthanu Linga are Gokarna Mahalinga established by Ravana, Kumareshwar, Hastipadeswar Shiva, Siddheshwar Linga, Hidvateshwar Linga, etc. King Vena, birth of Prithu sage Markandeya, then goes on to describe about the splendors of Sthanu Tirtha. Surya was Manu's father. Vena was Manu's grandson. He was wicked and always criticized the Vedas. Being displeased by his irreligious son, Vena's father left for the forest to do penance, where he attained salvation. In course of time, Vena's tyranny spread across the length and breadth of the earth. In a very short time, he became the lord of whole earth. He had strictly warned his subjects against worshipping any other deity except him. Sages became furious by his irreligious stricture and tried to change his mind, but their efforts went in vain. Ultimately, Vena was killed by the angry sages. After his death, the sages churned his left hand, which resulted in the manifestation of a dwarf. The sages considered him to be unfit to become a ruler and churned Vena's right hand for the second time. This time, a divine entity manifested, who had all the auspicious signs on his body. The deities crowned this divine entity as the king and named him Prithu. Prithu proved to be a just king, and his subjects were satisfied by his rule. One day, sage Narada arrived at Prithu's court. Wanting to grab the opportunity, he asked Narada how his father could be liberated from his sins. Narada told him that his father was presently living among the Mlechchas and was suffering from diseases like consumption and leprosy. He would be cured of his diseases if he is taken to Sthanu Tirtha and made to take a dip in the holy Sanihitya Sarovar, said Narada. He went to the site and found his father living among the Mlechchas. After taking the Mlechchas' permission, he brought his father to Sthanu Tirtha. His effort of helping his father to take a bath was resisted by the deity Vayu, who said, "The waters of Sanihitya Sarovar would get polluted if such a lowly sinner took a bath in it. First of all, you must go on a pilgrimage and visit all the sacred places to make your father pure. Only then he will be entitled to take bath here." Prithu, accompanied by his father, went on a pilgrimage and visited all the sacred places. When both of them returned to Sthanu Tirtha, his father had become pure by this time. Vena took his bath and became liberated from his sins. He worshipped Lord Sthanu and eulogized him with total devotion. Vena attains heaven. Sanat Kumar says, Lord Shiva became pleased by his devotion and blessed Vena that he would manifest from his body as Andak in his next birth. Due to the sins acquired by criticizing the Vedas, he would be born in the family of the notorious demon Hiranyaksha. Lord Shiva then asked Vena to demand any boon. Vena requested Lord Shiva to bless his attendant who had transformed into a dog due to his sin acquired by eating divine food. Lord Shiva blessed the attendant, as a result of which, he regained his original form. Right then, Prithu arrived there. After seeing him, Vena expressed his gratitude for his tremendous effort, without which, he would not have been liberated from his sins. After blessing Prithu, Vena departed for heaven. In his father's absence, Prithu continued to rule justly. He performed many religious activities and gave unlimited donations to the Brahmins. After ruling for a long period, he went to Kurukshetra, where he did a severe penance and attained the supreme abode after his death. The origin of Brahmeshwar's 4 heads. After creating all the movable and immovable living things, Lord Brahma created a beautiful lady. He was so infatuated by her beauty that he expressed his desire to procreate with her help. As a result of this grave sin committed by Lord Brahma, one of his 4 heads got detached and fell on the ground. He carried his severed head and went to Sanihitya Sarovar to atone for his sins. After reaching that site, he established a 4-headed Shiva Linga and worshipped it daily. Pleased by his devotion, Lord Shiva appeared before him. He blessed Lord Brahma and said, "You have become free from the sin due to the virtue attained by establishing a 4-headed Shiva Linga at this sacred place." After blessing him, Lord Shiva disappeared. After getting liberated from his sin, Lord Brahma worshipped the idol of 4-headed Mahadev and established another Shiva Linga in the middle of a nearby lake. He also created a reservoir, which is named after him, Brahmasa. He established 2 other Shiva Lingas, one towards the east of his hermitage and another at the bank of river Saraswati. A devotee who goes on a pilgrimage to these sacred places created by Lord Brahma becomes liberated from all his sins and attains salvation. Prithudak Tirtha. Describing the majesty of Prithudak Tirtha, Mahadev told the deities, "All of you must pay a visit to this sacrosanct place of pilgrimage situated near Sanihitya reservoir. The day on which moon, Sun and Jupiter unitedly come under Mrigashira Nakshatra is called Akshaya Tritiya. You must go to that sacred place and perform Shraddha of your ancestors." All the deities led by Indra went to Kurukshetra where Prithudak was situated. Brihaspati was also present with them. After taking their bath, the deities requested Brihaspati, Jupiter, to enter into the Mrigashira Nakshatra as directed by Mahadev. Brihaspati agreed to do that and entered into the Mrigashira Nakshatra along with the sun and the moon on Akshaya Tritiya. All the deities then worshipped their dead ancestors by offering pimt comprising of sesame seeds and honey. The ancestors were pleased and presented Meena to the deities. The deities in turn presented Meena to Himalaya. Himalaya was pleased to have Meena as his wife. In course of time, 3 daughters were born to them. Birth of Uma and her marriage to Shiva. Meena gives birth to Uma. Meena gave birth to 3 daughters and a son. The eldest daughter Ragini was red complexioned and had red eyes. Kutila was fair complexioned and had beautiful eyes like that of lotus petals. The youngest daughter Kali was dark complexioned and had beautiful eyes like the petals of blue lotus. Meena also had a son named Sunam. When all 3 of them were of 6 years, they started to do penance. The deities saw these beautiful girls and were enchanted by their beauty. Aditya and the Vasuganas took Kutila to Brahma Loka and asked Lord Brahma, "O Lord, will this girl give birth to a son capable of killing Mahishasura?" Lord Brahma told them that she was incapable of bearing the effulgence of Lord Shiva and hence she should be released. Kutila was dejected by Lord Brahma's rejection and challenged him that she would try every means so as to attain the capability of holding the effulgence of Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma became angry with her arrogant utterances and cursed her to become a river. In a very short period, the furious current of Kutila overflooded the whole Brahma Loka, but Lord Brahma managed to control her current. In this way, Kutila remained in Brahma Loka in the form of a river. When the deities saw Ragini doing penance, they took her to Lord Brahma. Even she was cursed by Lord Brahma in the same manner as her sister had been cursed. Due to Lord Brahma's curse, she became Sandhya, evening, and started for the auspicious yoga of Kritika. After losing her 2 daughters, Meena tried to dissuade Kali from doing penance. But Kali was not to listen. Reacting to her mother's advices, Kali pronounced, "You, Ma," and as a result she was named Uma by her mother. Uma commenced her severe penance to please Lord Shiva. When Lord Brahma came to know about this, he instructed the deities to bring her along to Brahma Loka, but the deities were unsuccessful in their attempt as Uma's radiance was unbearable for them. They returned to Brahma Loka and narrated the whole story to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma was convinced that Uma was worthy of being Shiva's consort. One day, Himalaya, Uma's father, brought her back home. Once, Lord Shiva went to Himalaya mountain to do penance. When Himalaya came to know of his arrival, he was extremely happy. He made all necessary arrangements for Lord Shiva. One day, while Lord Shiva was engrossed in meditation, Uma arrived there. Lord Shiva was pleased to know that Sati had reincarnated as Uma. But his joy was momentary as he went back into deep meditation. Uma paid her obeisance by touching Shiva's feet. Lord Shiva, wanting to test Uma's devotion, went into hiding. Uma sought her father's permission to do penance with the objective of having Shiva as her husband. Himalaya agreed and gave his permission. She started her penance after creating an earthen idol of Lord Shiva. She worshipped that idol with total devotion. Lord Shiva became pleased with her devotion and appeared before her in the guise of a mendicant. On being inquired by Uma, Lord Shiva told her that he was on his pilgrimage to Prithudak. "I am used to all these austerities as I have been practicing it since my childhood. But why are you torturing yourself in such a tender age?" asked Lord Shiva. Luma Prabha, Uma's companion, was also present there. She told the mendicant about the objective with which Uma was doing her penance. "She wants to have Lord Shiva as her husband," said Luma Prabha. Hearing this, the mendicant laughed loudly and made fun of Shiva. He tried to dissuade Uma from marrying Lord Shiva. Uma became extremely angry and asked the mendicant to keep mum. But when the mendicant continued with his abuses, she got up and tried to move away from the side. Lord Shiva became pleased by her total devotion and appeared in his real form. He assured Uma to go back home and said, "I will send the sages to your house with a marriage proposal. The idol which you have been worshipping with such deep devotion would become famous as Bhadrashwar." Uma returned home and Shiva proceeded on his way to Prithudak. Lord Shiva sends marriage proposal after paying a visit to Prithudak Tirtha. Lord Shiva returned to his abode. At that time, he was living at Mandar mountain. After Lord Shiva's contemplation, the Saptarishis arrived. After the formal salutations, Lord Shiva told the sages that his wife Sati has reincarnated as Uma. "All of you must go to Himalaya and request him to marry his daughter to me," said Lord Shiva. The Saptarishis abided by his instructions. All of them went to Himalaya with Shiva's proposal. When Uma came to know about this, she was quite pleased but did not reveal her emotions. Himalaya was in a dilemma. He did not know whether to refuse or accept the marriage proposal. The Meru mountain advised him to go ahead with the marriage as it would not be proper to refuse the Saptarishis. Meena, Himalaya's wife, said, "O Lord of the mountain, the dead ancestors gave Uma to me on the condition that I would get her married with Shiva. The son born to her would kill the demons Mahishasura and Taraksura." At last Himalaya agreed. The Saptarishis were pleased and chose an auspicious moment for the marriage ceremony. They said, "Shiva would marry your daughter on Makra Muhurta, the third day from today, when the moon will enter the Uttar Falguni Nakshatra." After saying this, the Saptarishis returned to Mandar mountain and gave the good news to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva became pleased and worshipped the Saptarishis. The Saptarishis then went to inform all the deities about Shiva's marriage. Uma marries Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu, Brahma, the deities and the Ganas were pleased to hear about Shiva's marriage. Lord Shiva went to his abode Kailash mountain to make preparations for the marriage ceremony. Lord Shiva's marriage procession proceeded towards Himalaya mountain. His appearance was quite terrifying, with a tiger skin around his waist and Gorochan tilak on his forehead. He had a garland of skulls around his neck. Snakes were coiling all around his body. His mount Vrishab, ox, was walking in a majestic way. The marriage procession comprised of the deities, yakshas, demons and his Ganas. Lord Vishnu had goddess Lakshmi by his side and was mounted on Garuda, eagle, while Lord Brahma was mounted on Hans, swan. When the marriage procession reached its destination, Himalaya received his esteemed guests with great honor and guided them to his palace. The women folk envied Uma as they glanced at the handsome appearance of Lord Shiva. Uma was looking divinely beautiful in her white-colored silken apparel. At last, both the bride and the bridegroom entered the canopy where the marriage ceremony was supposed to be performed. Himalaya, placing Uma's hand in Shiva's, requested him to accept her as his wife. Lord Shiva said, "O King of the mountains, despite being homeless, I agree to accept your daughter as my wife." After that, both Shiva and Uma tied the nuptial knot and circumambulated the sacred fire for 3 times. Both of them made offerings to the sacred fire. As Uma touched Shiva's feet, Lord Brahma got a chance to have a glimpse of her beautiful face. He was so infatuated by her divine beauty that he ejaculated. Nobody except Lord Shiva was aware of this incident. Lord Brahma tried to conceal his ejaculated sperms, virya, under the soil. But Lord Shiva prohibited him from doing so and said, "Don't destroy this virya. From it would manifest 80,000 Balkilyas." Lord Shiva's prophecies came true, and in a very short time, 80,000 Balkilyas appeared there. Lord Shiva then returned to Mandar Parvat accompanied by his consort, Uma. Vishwakarma constructs a palace. After reaching Mandar mountain, Lord Shiva instructed Vishwakarma to construct a home. Vishwakarma constructed a spacious home for Shiva, which was spread in the area of 64 yojans. The home was decorated with swastika symbols and its walls were made of gold. One day, Lord Shiva jokingly referred to Uma as Kali because of her dark complexion. But Uma did not take his comments lightly and told Shiva that she was going to the Himalayas to do her penance, so that he did not dare to call her by that name again. Thus, Uma went to Himalaya mountain and commenced her penance. Standing on one feet, she engaged herself in severe penance. One day, a lion arrived and seeing Uma standing on one feet, waited patiently for the moment when she would lose her balance and fall into its clutches. Uma continued with her penance for 100 years by continuously chanting the sacred Brahma mantra. Pleased by her devotion, Lord Brahma appeared before her and asked what she wished for. Uma first of all requested him to bless the lion with immense power. She then requested him to bless her with a golden complexion. Lord Brahma blessed her and disappeared. She abandoned her dark complexioned skin from which manifested Kaushiki. Now, her complexion turned golden due to Lord Brahma's blessings. Indra appeared before her and sought her permission to take Kaushiki along with him. Uma gave her consent without any hesitation. Indra took Kaushiki to Vindhya mountain and requested her to stay there. He said, "You would become famous as Vindhyavasini and would be revered even by the deities." He presented a lion to her and went back to his abode. On the other hand, Uma returned to Mandar mountain and lived happily. Lord Shiva became so deeply attached to her that he forgot about his duties, and as a result of which, the whole world became disturbed. The deities became scared by this development and went to seek Lord Brahma's advice. Lord Brahma went to Mandar mountain accompanied by all the deities. They tried to enter Shiva's abode, but Nandi Shiva's mount did not let them in. Helpless, all of them waited eagerly for the time Shiva would come out. Agni, seeing rows of swans coming out from Shiva's abode, disguised himself as a swan and thus managed to get inside. He went near Lord Shiva and said, "O Lord, the deities are anxiously waiting for you outside. How come you are not aware of this?" Lord Shiva immediately got up and ran towards the deities. Indra and other deities were scared at the prospect of losing heaven to Lord Shiva's progeny. So, they requested Lord Shiva not to procreate any child from Uma. Lord Shiva agreed but asked them as to who was capable of holding his outflowing sperms. Agni came forward and swallowed each drop of Shiva's sperm. Satisfied, the deities left. Lord Shiva went inside and told everything to Uma. She became furious and cursed the deities that they too would remain sunless just like her. One day before taking her bath, Uma applied uttan, mixture of sandalwood, turmeric etc., on her body. She then peeled off the paste from her body and made an elephant-headed image from it. Malini, her companion, assisted her in taking bath. Malini was smiling all the while as Uma was taking her bath. Uma became curious and wanted to know the reason of her strange smile. Malini told Uma about her firm belief that one day, she, Uma, would definitely become a mother. Uma told her that this was impossible as the deities had prohibited her husband, Shiva, from procreating a child. But Malini continued to smile. After taking her bath, Uma went back home. After some time, Lord Shiva arrived and took his bath at the same place. The elephant-headed image created by Uma was lying there. Suddenly it became alive and started making a hissing sound from his trunk. Lord Shiva delightfully took him to Uma and said, "Look at your son." Uma was surprised to see that elephant-headed image alive and affectionately embraced him. Lord Shiva again said, "Your son will become famous as Vinayak and the whole world would worship him." Lord Shiva then entrusted the task of child's security to Gatodar. Thus, both Lord Shiva and Uma lived happily. The same Uma later on took incarnation as goddess Katyayani and killed the demons Kshumb and Nishumb. Killing of Nishumb and Kshumb and Nishumb were sons of Danu. They wanted to avenge Mahishasura's death and sent many demons like to bring goddess Chandika after enslaving her. First of all, Sugriv was sent followed by Dhumralochan, but both of them were killed by the goddess. When Kshumb and Nishumb heard of their death, they were infuriated. Nishumb attacked the goddess with a huge army. Kshumb attacked from the other side. In the fierce battle, goddess Chandika broke Nishumb's sword as well as his shield. Nishumb then attacked goddess Chandika with his weapon Shakti. Goddess Chandika broke it with her chakra. At last, she attacked him with her arrows at him, and as a result, Nishumb got injured and fell. When Kshumb saw Nishumb, injured and unconscious, he ran towards goddess Chandika to kill her. Goddess Chandika blew her conch and made a thunderous noise by pulling the bowstring. Kshumb released the dangerous weapon Ugradipti in the direction of goddess Chandika. But her weapon Maholkanamni destroyed it. Kshumb thundered loudly and attacked goddess Chandika with a volley of arrows, but none could cause any harm to her. Finally, Goddess Chandika attacked Kshaum with her trident. Kshaum fell down unconscious. After some time, he regained his consciousness and attacked Goddess Chandika with his arrows. But she destroyed all the arrows. In the meantime, Nishum had regained his consciousness. He got up and attacked Goddess Chandika with his trident. In the end, Goddess Chandika killed Nishum by piercing her trident in his heart. As Nishum was dying, another demon manifested from his body. Even he was killed by her. Her Mount Singha devoured all the dead demons. Kshaum became angry at the death of his brother Nishum. He furiously told the goddess, "O wicked lady! Do not be proud of your strength borrowed from others." Goddess Chandika replied, "O wicked demon! I am the only power of this whole universe. I am the origin of cause and effect. Look, all the divinities are entering into my body." The next moment, all the divine entities, which had earlier manifested from the bodies of the deities, united with the goddess. Now, the goddess was alone. A tremendous battle was fought between Goddess Chandika and Kshaum. Ambika attacked him with numerous divine weapons. But, Kshaum neutralized her attack with his own weapons. Kshaum covered the whole body of Goddess Chandika with his arrows. She broke his bow. After this, Kshaum attacked her with his weapon Shakti, which was broken into pieces by her chakra. Now, Kshaum took out his sword and attacked her with it. She broke his shield and sword with her arrows. Kshaum then attacked her with his make. Even his make was broken into pieces. Kshaum had no more weapons left with him. He hit the goddess on her breast with his clenched fist. She slapped him so hard on the face that he fell down. The next moment, he got up and manifested himself in the sky. Now, a tremendous duel was fought between them in the sky. In the end, she dashed him to the ground and pierced the trident in his heart. Kshaum was instantly killed. After the killing of Kshaum, Gandharvas, the deities and Apsaras were so pleased that they danced and rejoiced. The whole atmosphere echoed with the sound, "Shanti Shanti, let there be peace." After Goddess Chandika killed Kshaum, all the deities under the leadership of Indra and Agni started eulogizing her. "O Goddess! Be pleased upon us. Protect the whole world, as you are the goddess of this whole universe. You appear in the form of this earth, the base on which everything is situated. Your light illuminates all the living creatures. You are the only power through which creation, nurturing and annihilation takes place. You are the Brahmani, Maheshwari and the Kaumari. We salute you because you have protected us from the terror of the demons. We need your protection from all the calamities of this world." Goddess Chandika was very pleased by their eulogy. She asked them for any wish. The deities said, "O Akhileshwari, we need your protection. Clear all the obstacles from our path. Eliminate our enemies." Goddess Chandika replied, "During Vavaswat Manavanta, I will take incarnation from Yashoda's womb, the wife of Nand, to kill the demons Kshaum and Nishum. After that, I will kill the demon Viprachit in my most aggressive form. 100 years later, I will manifest myself and would be known as Satakshi because of my 100 eyes. My next incarnation would be known as Shakambari because I would nurture the whole world during the period of drought. I will kill the demon Dogam during that drought period. I will kill the demon Arun, the tormentor of all the three worlds, by taking the form of a bee. Due to this, I will be known as Brahmari. I will take incarnations every time the demons torment the world." Goddess Chandika says, "I will clear all the obstacles from the path of such a man who worships me. If a devotee listens to the great tales of how I killed Mahishasura, Kshumb and Nishumb, on the 8th, 9th and 14th days of any month, then he would be liberated from poverty and all his sins. He would become free from fear. A devotee must listen to my divine tales during all the religious ceremonies like making sacrifice, worship and performing yajna. By doing this, all his enemies will be eliminated. A man who remembers me when faced with dangerous situations remains protected by me. After blessing the deities, Goddess Chandika disappeared from their sight. All the demons, who had survived after the killings of Kshumb and Nishumb, went to the nether world to save their lives. Birth of Kartikeya. Swallowing of Lord Shiva's sperm had subdued Agni's radiance. The deities advised him to take Lord Brahma's help. While he was on his way to Brahma Loka, he came across a river named Kutila and requested her to hold Shiva's sperm. She agreed and requested him to release it in her waters. In course of time, she became pregnant. The thought of giving birth to an illegitimate child tormented her, so she went to Lord Brahma to take his advice. Lord Brahma instructed her to abort her fetus at Udhyachal mountain, which was covered by the dense forest of reed. Lord Brahma felt that it was a very safe place for her and nobody will be aware of this incident. Kutila followed his instructions. Kutila aborted her fetus just according to Lord Brahma's instructions. The fetus remained there for 10,000 years, after which a child was born, radiant like a rising sun and eyes like the petals of lotus flower. The child, being hungry, started to cry. At that time, all the 6 Kritikas were passing through that forest. They were so mesmerized by the child's beauty that they started quarreling among themselves as to who should first feed breast milk to the child. Seeing their quarrel, the child appeared with his 6 heads. This way, all the 6 Kritikas fed their breast milk to the child at a time. This is the reason why Kartikeya has 6 heads. After Agni came to know of Kartikeya's birth, he proceeded to bring him back home. But Kutila saw him on the way and inquired about his journey. When Agni revealed his intention, she started quarreling with him for Kartikeya's custody. Meanwhile, Lord Vishnu arrived there and inquired regarding their quarreling. Lord Vishnu, after being told the reason, advised them to take Lord Shiva's help as he was the best judge on such matters. Both Kutila and Agni went to Lord Shiva and tried to get his consent. Uma advised Lord Shiva by saying, "All of us must go to that place where the child is living and try to know as to whom he would like to have as his guardian." All of them went to that reed forest and found Kartikeya in the lap of one of the Kritikas. Kartikeya knew about their desires. Seeing them worried, he manifested in 4 different appearances of Kumar, Vishak, Shak and Mahasen. Kumar went towards Lord Shiva while Vishak went towards Uma. Similarly, Shak went towards Kutila while Mahasen went towards Agni. Thus, everybody was satisfied. Lord Shiva then blessed the Kritikas by saying that Kartikeya would become famous, deriving his name from them. All the deities arrived there and decided to make Kartikeya the chief commander of their army. Kartikeya kills Tharaka and Mahishasura. After being appointed as the chief commander of the deities, Kartikeya sought his guardian's permission to kill the demons Tharaka and Mahishasura. All the deities including Lord Vishnu blessed Kartikeya and wished for his victory. Lord Vishnu eulogized Kartikeya and praised his valiance. Kartikeya then proceeded with a huge army comprising of Ganas and Kritikas. Kartikeya had taken an aerial route so that he could reach his enemy's territory as soon as possible. The Ganas, disguised as birds, followed him. As they were about to reach their enemy's place, Kartikeya requested the Ganas to descend to the earth. The Ganas followed his instruction and descended to the earth, making a thunderous noise. Some demons like Mahesh, Tharaka, Virochan, Jamb and Kujam heard this noise and went to Andak to inform him about it. As the demons were trying to find out the cause of the noise, a demon Patalketu arrived there in an injured condition. The demons were surprised and asked how he got injured. Patalketu, narrating the incident, said, "I had entered Sage Galav's hermitage in the guise of a boar with the intention of killing him. Suddenly, an arrow pierced my body. I ran towards the sea coast to save my life, where I found large number of people who were planning to kill Mahishasura and Tharaka. I have come here to inform you about their plan. I am very scared and worried." Andak assured them that there was nothing to worry about, as both Mahishasura and Tharaka were mighty and it was not an easy task for anybody to kill them. When Mahishasura and Tharaka came to know about this, they immediately set out with a huge army towards the sea coast. An intense battle commenced in which both the sides fought valiantly. The Ganas and the Matrikas launched a severe attack on the enemy with all the weapons they had at their disposal. But the demons remained unaffected and their assault was too much for the Ganas to bear. After defeating the Ganas, Mahishasura menacingly ran towards Kartikeya. Suchakraksh, who was fighting from Kartikeya's side, unleashed his chakra to stop Mahishasura. Mahishasura retaliated by attacking the chakra with his make, but his make was cut into pieces by the chakra. After destroying the make, Suchakraksha's chakra chased Mahishasura. When Banasura saw Mahishasura's life in danger, he came forward to help him. He attacked the chakra with his 500 hands and grabbed Suchakraksh with the remaining 500. Seeing Suchakraksh in danger, Makaraksh hit Banasura on his head with his make. Seething in pain, Banasura immediately released Suchakraksh. Seeing his army defeated, Tharaka came forward to fight with a sword. He fought valiantly and defeated the Ganas and the Matrikas in a very short time. The defeated Ganas took the refuge of Kartikeya. When Kartikeya saw Tharaka chasing the Ganas, he killed him with his weapon Shakti. Tharaka's death scared Mahishasura and Banasura. To save his life, Mahishasura ran away towards Himalaya mountain while Banasura hid himself in the ocean. Kartikeya chased Mahishasura, as a result of which, he was forced to abandon Himalaya. Mahishasura now took refuge in a cave of the Kronch mountain. Seeing the demon being protected by his maternal cousin Ga cave, Kartikeya was in a dilemma. He knew that if he attacked Mahishasura inside the cave, then his cousin Ga might get hurt. He waited for Mahishasura to come out. Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Mahesh appeared and advised Kartikeya to kill the demon. Indra too advised him the same. But Kartikeya did not pay heed and told them that he would kill Mahishasura only after he came out from the cave. Furious, Indra told Kartikeya that a man did not become a sinner if he killed one person to safeguard his community's interest. Giving his own instance, he narrated as to how he had killed his own brother Namuchi. But Kartikeya was not convinced and refused to act according to Indra's instruction. Very soon, their arguments turned into a major dispute when Indra boasted of his strength. Kartikeya challenged him for a duel. Indra proposed a plan according to which, whoever circumambulated the Kronch mountain first would be considered as the winner. When Kartikeya returned after circumambulating Kronch mountain, he found Indra sitting there. Furiously, he asked Indra why he was seated. Indra replied that he was the winner as he had already finished circumambulating the Kronch. Both of them quarreled but were not able to decide the winner. So, both of them went to Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Brahma to take their help. Lord Vishnu advised them that only Cronch Mountain could decide the winner. Both of them went to Cronch Mountain and requested him to tell as to who the winner was. Cronch Mountain said, "Indra is the winner since he was the first to circumambulate me." Kartikeya became furious and attacked Cronch Mountain with his Shakti, as a result of which, the great mountain was fragmented into pieces. Mahishasura, who was hiding in the cave of Cronch Mountain, was also crushed to death. Later on, Kartikeya felt very sorry for having killed his maternal cousin Ga, and after being advised by Lord Vishnu, he went to Prithudak Tirtha to atone for his sin. Ritudhvaj injures Patalketu. King Ripujit, a descendant of Raghu, lived with his valiant and brave son named Ritudhvaj. Ritudhvaj, being a virtuous prince, thought it as his duty to protect all the sages and hermits. Under his protection, the sages performed their religious duties without any problem. During Ripujit's reign, a great sage, Galav, lived in his hermitage doing penance. A demon named Patalketu used to torment him. Although Galav was capable of burning Patalketu to death, yet he hesitated to do so for the fear of losing his virtuosity. One day, Sage Galav was contemplating on the means to get rid of Patalketu's terror tactics but was unable to find any solution and let out a deep sigh in frustration. He was amazed to see a horse falling from the sky. As he was looking towards the sky, he heard a heavenly voice, "This horse can travel thousands of yojans in a single day. Give this horse to Ritudhvaj, who will solve your problems." As per the instructions of that heavenly voice, Galav presented that horse to Ritudhvaj and engaged himself in penance. This horse was sent by a Gandharv king named Vishwavasu with a special purpose. Vishwavasu had a beautiful daughter named Madalsa. Infatuated by her beauty, the demon Patalketu had abducted her to Patal Loka. He wanted to marry her but Madalsa rejected his advances. Vishwavasu knew that only Ritudhvaj was capable of killing Patalketu, so he presented that horse to Sage Galav with the instruction that it should be given to Ritudhvaj. Ritudhvaj went to Patal Loka on that horse and fought a fierce battle in which Patalketu was seriously injured. Ritudhvaj released Madalsa from Patalketu's captivity and married her. Lord Shiva does penance. Lord Shiva was so deeply attached to Uma that for 1000 years, he was possessed by only her thoughts. He forgot about his duties, and as a result, there was anarchy all over the world. His obsession with Uma had also decreased his radiance. He decided to do penance with the objective of regaining his radiance. When Uma came to know about his decision, she was unhappy, but Lord Shiva consoled her by relating the significance of his decision. Before leaving, he entrusted the responsibility of her security to Nandi. He started wandering in search of a suitable place for doing penance. Sometimes, he did penance under the tree, sometimes on the mountain peaks, and sometimes on the banks of a river. Initially, he used to eat only kant and mulla, but later on he stopped eating even that and lived only on air. This way, 900 years passed, during which he traveled to all the three lokas. Ultimately, he even stopped breathing. He inserted a small wooden block in his mouth to stop the air from entering his body. This act of Shiva resulted in the tremendous generation of energy inside his body, as a result of which that wooden block blasted off through his skull and fell on the Himalaya mountain with such force that the wooden block leveled numerous peaks of Himalaya mountain to the ground. The famous place of pilgrimage Kedarnath is situated at this very place. After that, Lord Shiva did a severe penance by immersing his whole body in the waters of Saraswati river. He remained immersed in the water for 1 complete year and did not come out. All the 7 worlds, including the oceans and the mountains, started shaking violently. The stars and the nakshatras started falling down on the earth. Curious to know why this happened, the worried deities went to Lord Brahma. Even Lord Brahma could not satisfy their curiosity as he had no answer. All of them then went to Lord Vishnu, but he too was not aware of the reason. All the deities, including Lord Vishnu, then went to Mandar Parvat to see Lord Shiva. But they were surprised to find out that neither Lord Shiva nor Uma were present there. Lord Vishnu was aware of Lord Shiva's penance in the Saraswati river. Due to the sin of causing Mridani's fetus to abort, the deities could not know the fact behind this strange event. The deities then performed the most austere Taptakricha Vratha to atone for their sin. Lord Vishnu then gave them a glimpse of Shiva Linga, which manifested in his heart. All the deities again worshipped that Shiva Linga and made offerings. Lord Vishnu then took them to Kurukshetra, where Lord Shiva was doing his penance in the waters of Saraswati. The deities eulogized Lord Shiva by saying, Stanve Namah, and Indra requested him to stop doing his penance as the whole world was in turbulence. Lord Shiva accepted their request with a smile and discontinued with his penance. Even after Lord Shiva had stopped doing his penance, the earth continued to shake violently. Surprised, he started wandering here and there to know the truth behind this turbulence. He found sage Shukracharya doing penance on the bank of river Ogavati with the objective of learning the most secret Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya. Lord Shiva blessed him and his desire was fulfilled, but the earth still continued to shake violently. Lord Shiva then proceeded towards Sapta Saraswat, where he found sage Mankanak was dancing in joy and his steps were causing the earth to shake. Sage Mankanak had acquired tremendous virtues due to his severe penance, and as a result, instead of blood, vegetative juice secreted from his wound. He had become arrogant and thought that it happened only because of his penance. Lord Shiva then subdued his arrogance by causing wound on his finger from which ashes poured out. Sage Mankanak was ashamed of himself and stopped dancing, and the earth became calm once again. Lord Vishnu kills Mura. Mura was the Aurasputra of sage Kashyapa and Danu. When he saw the demons being vanquished by the deities, he went to do penance with the objective of getting boons from Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma appeared before him, he said, "O Lord, bless me with a boon, which enables me to kill anybody merely by the touch of my hand." Lord Brahma blessed him and said, "So be it." Getting this boon made Mura very arrogant. He challenged the deities, Yakshas and Kinnars to fight him, but nobody accepted his challenge as they were scared of his power. He then entered Amravati, Indra's capital, and challenged Indra for a duel. Indra became terrified and abandoned his abode heaven. Now, Mura became the lord of heaven, and very soon, he invited the other demons to join him in heaven. Once, Mura challenged a king named Raghu who was proficient in rituals for a duel. At that time, Raghu was busy performing his yagya. He admonished Mura by saying, "What is the great deal in fighting with the mortals? If you are really that brave, then you should defeat Yamraj." The arrogant Mura then went to Yamloka and challenged Yam. Yam was aware of Lord Brahma's boon given to Mura. So, he went to take Lord Vishnu's help. Lord Vishnu advised him to send Mura to Vishnu Loka by any means. Yam returned to his abode, where he found Mura waiting for him. He said, "I am ready to accept your authority on the condition that you protect me from the wrath of my former master." Mura curiously asked Yam as to who his former master was. Yam then told him that his former master was none other than Lord Vishnu and he lived in Kshayasagar. Mura then went to Kshayasagar to fight Lord Vishnu. When Mura reached Kshayasagar, Lord Vishnu asked him the reason for his arrival. Mura confidently said that he had come to fight him. Lord Vishnu had worked out an excellent plan to kill Mura and the time had now arrived for its implementation. Lord Vishnu said, "If you have come to fight me, then why are you trembling with fear and why is your heart beating so fast? I do not fight cowards." Furious at Lord Vishnu's words, Mura put his hand on his own chest to convince Lord Vishnu that his heartbeat was normal. The moment he put his hand on his chest, he fell down and finding the moment opportune, Lord Vishnu killed him with the chakra. Description of Hell's Lord Brahma, on being inquired by Sanat Kumar on the different hells, said, "Those who have illicit relationship or are in the company of sinners go to the first hell. Felling of trees and stealing the fruits of others' tree lead to the second hell. People who kill creatures unworthy of killing and those who quarrel over property dispute go to third hell. Terrorizing the living creatures and deviating from one's own religion lead to the fourth hell. Behaving deceitfully with friends and taking false oath lead to the fifth hell. Keeping somebody in captivity and causing hurdles in the path of others would lead to the sixth hell. Stealing of royal property or copulating with the queen leads to the seventh hell. Greed and misuse of hard-earned money lead to the eighth hell. Stealing of Brahman's property and condemning others lead to the ninth hell. People who lack courtesy or who steal sacred texts go to the 10th hell. Altogether, Lord Brahma described about 16 hells. King Danda and Araja Angaksura, the demon Narda, asks sage Pulastya, what did the demon Angak do after entering Patal Loka and how was Lord Shiva's life at Mandar mountain? Pulastya says, Angak was infatuated by Girija's divine beauty and his lust only became stronger as the days passed by. Although Prahlad tried very hard to convince him and narrated the tale of his birth, which happened only because of Lord Shiva's blessing. Once Lord Shiva was engrossed in meditation when Uma playfully shut all his 3 eyes and the whole atmosphere was covered in darkness. An entity manifested from that darkness who was presented to Hiranyaksha and who later on became famous as Angak. Prahlad also told him that his lust for his own mother, Parvati, was licentious and most immoral. In order to dissuade Angak from going ahead with his immoral intention, Prahlad narrated a story, which described the destruction of an immoral king named Danda. Sage Shukracharya was the royal priest of King Danda, who performed all the religious rites. He had a daughter named Araja. Once Shukracharya had gone to meet the demon Vrishpava and stayed there for some days. King Danda went to Shukracharya's hermitage to find out the reasons for his absence. He saw Araja and became enchanted by her beauty. He expressed his desires to Araja that he wanted her at any cost. Araja tried to dissuade him by saying that his immoral action would amount to committing treachery towards his guru Shukracharya. She also tried to scare him by citing about her father's rage, which even the deities feared. King Danda then narrated this tale to force her to accept his proposal. Vishwakarma had a beautiful daughter Chitrangada. Once, she had gone to take bath in the river with her companions. Suddenly, King Surat arrived there and being infatuated by her beauty became lovesick. Seeing his pitiable condition, Chitrangada offered herself to him despite her companion's objection. After narrating this story, King Danda asked Araja to follow the example of Chitrangada. But she said, "You have narrated only half the story. I will tell you what happened after that. She then told this story. The immoral act of Chitrangada had angered her father, and he cursed her that her married life would be unsuccessful. One day, King Surat was drowned by the powerful current of the Saraswati. Chitrangada fainted as she could not bear the sorrow of her husband's separation. After regaining her consciousness, she looked all around but could not find her husband. Once again, she became unconscious and fell in the Saraswati river. The powerful currents of Saraswati drowned her, and she was ultimately thrown in Gomti river. Gomti's current abandoned her near a forest inhabited by ferocious lions. After narrating her story, a Raja told King Danda that she would certainly not accept his proposal, as she did not want to meet the same fate as that of Chitrangada. The king told her that the story was still incomplete and narrated the following tale. When Chitrangada regained her consciousness, she found herself in a dense forest. Seeing her in a sorrowful mood, Anjan Aguhayak consoled her by saying that very soon, she would reunite with her husband. He also advised her to go on a pilgrimage to Srikant. Chitrangada went to Srikant, situated towards the south of river Kalindi. After taking a bath in Kalindi river, she visited the Srikant temple and worshipped Lord Maheshwar. Meanwhile, a sage arrived there, and seeing Chitrangada queried about her staying in a deserted place. Chitrangada narrated the whole story as to how she was cursed by her own father. The sage became extremely furious after hearing her woeful tale and cursed Vishwakarma to become a monkey. He also advised her to go to Saptagodavar and engage in the worship of Lord Hakeshwar, where one day she would meet Devvati, the daughter of demon Kandamali. Chitrangada went to Saptagodavar and engaged herself in the worship of Lord Hakeshwar. The sage wrote the following lines on the walls of Srikant temple: "Is there anybody who could liberate this beautiful girl from her sorrow?" After that, the sage proceeded on his pilgrimage to Pushkarnath. Vishwakarma becomes a monkey. Continuing with his story, King Danda says, Chitrangada stayed for a long period at Saptagodavar. She used to spend time by engaging in the worship of Lord Hakeshwar, waiting for the day she would meet her husband. Vishwakarma had become a monkey due to the curse of that sage and started living at Shalvya mountain. One day, a demon named Kandamali arrived at the foothills of Shalvya mountain accompanied by his daughter Vedavati. The monkey, Vishwakarma, held Vedavati by her hand. Kandamali became furious and took out his sword to kill the monkey. Sensing danger, the monkey ran away towards Himalaya mountain carrying Vedavati in his lap. Kandamali chased him. On the way, the monkey abandoned Vedavati at the door of a secluded hermitage and hid himself in the waters of river Kalindi but was drowned. Kandamali had seen the monkey drowning and conjured that his daughter too might have drowned along with him. He returned to his abode in a remorseful mood. The ferocious current of Kalindi river carried that monkey to a famous place called Shiva. After regaining his consciousness, he returned to the place where he had left Vedavati. After reaching that spot, he found Anjan accompanied by his daughter Nandayanti treading along. He mistook Nandayanti for Vedavati and ran towards her. Sensing danger, Nandayanti jumped into the Hiramvati river and was carried by its ferocious current to Koishal. When she regained her consciousness, Nandayanti found herself near a large banyan tree. Sitting on the rock in a thoughtful mood, she heard a heavenly voice, "Is there anybody who could inform sage Rittvaj about his son's captivity and who has been tied to this banyan tree?" Nandayanti was surprised to find a 5-year-old child being tied to the topmost branch of the banyan tree. On being inquired, the child told her, "My name is Jabli. Sage Ritgvaj is my father who has blessed me with 5,000 years of childhood birth, 10,000 years of adolescence and 20 years of adulthood respectively. But he had also warned me of being held captive for the period of 500 years during my childhood. One day, I had gone to take bath in the Hiramvati river when suddenly, I came across a huge monkey who enslaved me. I am living here in captivity since then. After narrating his story, Jabli inquired about Nandayanti's identity. Nandayanti told everything, which had happened to her. Jabli advised her to go to Shrikant temple situated on the bank of river Yamuna and said, "There, you would meet my father Ritgvaj who comes to the temple daily in the afternoon to worship Lord Shiva. You can seek his help." Nandayanti went to Ritgvaj's hermitage as per the instruction of Jabli. One day while she was worshipping in the Shrikant temple, she saw those lines inscribed by the sage, who had once cursed her father Vishwakarma. She added one more line to that inscription, "Sage Mughal had prophesied that I would become a queen. Instead of becoming a queen, I am going through my most turbulent period. Is there anyone who could help me out?" After that, she went to the bank of river Yamuna where she found a beautiful hermitage. She entered inside the hermitage and found Vedavati sitting there. Very soon, both of them became fast friends. In the meantime, Sage Ritgvaj had gone to offer prayers in the Shrikant temple and saw those lines inscribed on its walls. He went into deep contemplation and understood what those lines meant. After worshipping, he left for Ayodhya where he met King Ikshvaku. He requested Ikshvaku to instruct his son Shakuni to release Jabli from the monkey's captivity. Ikshvaku instructed his son to fulfill Sage Ritgvaj's desire. All three of them including Ikshvaku went to the site of Jabli's captivity. Shakuni, being a master archer, cut all the creepers that had grown around Jabli. Sage Ritgvaj climbed up the tree and found that Jabli was tied to the branch. He tried to open the knot but was unsuccessful and called Shakuni for help. Shakuni tried hard to open the knot but even he was unsuccessful. He then cut that branch into 3 pieces by unleashing a volley of arrows. Thus Jabli became free, albeit partially, as he was burdened with the 3 pieces of that branch. Search for Chitrangada and Vedavati. In the meantime, both daughters of Yaksh and the demon arrived at Shrikant Mahadev temple and engaged themselves in the worship of Lord Mahadev. One day, Sage Galav arrived at the temple and was astonished to find 2 young ladies at such a deserted place. While taking bath, he heard the melodious songs of the 2 ladies. He became convinced of their divinity as it was impossible for mortals to sing with such expertise. After the worship, Sage Galav asked them their identity, who then narrated the whole story. The next morning, as Galav was about to leave, both of them requested him to take them along. All 3 of them then left for Pushkar Tirtha. After reaching their destination, Sage Galav decided to take a dip in the holy river. While taking bath, he saw many female fish trying to coax their male counterparts into making love by saying, "If Sage Galav is not afraid of being in the company of young women, then what makes you so scared in copulating with us?" The male fish replied that he was afraid of getting ridiculed by the public. Sage Galav was so ashamed of his conduct that he did not come out of the river. Both ladies waited anxiously for Sage Galav. Suddenly, Chitrangada arrived and was surprised to see strangers standing there. All 3 of them were looking at each other with surprised expressions on their face when Vedavati arrived there suddenly. She went near Chitrangada and inquired about her identity. Chitrangada narrated the whole story and revealed how circumstances had forced her to reach this place. In a very short time, all four of them became well acquainted with one another. They went to Hakeshwar temple situated on the banks of Saptagodavar river and worshipped Lord Hakeshwar. They started living in the temple premises and spent their time in the daily worship of Lord Hakeshwar. On the other side, Shakuni, Jabli and Ritdhwaj were anxiously searching them. During the search, Jabli went to Shakal Janpad accompanied by his father Ritdhwaj. At that time, Shakal Janpad was ruled by Indradyumna, the son of Manu. After meeting him, Ritdhwaj sought his help in finding his lost daughter Nandayanti. Indradyumna told him, "O Brahman, even I have lost my daughter and don't know where she is at present. So, all three of us must go in search of our respective daughters." After saying this, all three of them decided to proceed ahead in search of their daughter. When they reached Badrikasrama, they were amazed to find a young man engaged in austere penance. After formal introduction, it dawned on Indradyumna that the young sage was his own nephew Surat. Indradyumna requested his nephew to join him in searching his daughter. Ritdhwaj told Surat, "The girl for whom you are doing such austere penance had been taken by me to Saptagodavar. Come with me and I will help you to reunite with her." All of them then left for Saptagodavar. In the meantime, as Bharitachi Devvati's mother arrived at Urejiri mountain to where she came across a monkey and inquired if he had seen her daughter. The monkey told the frail-looking Bharitachi that he had taken a young woman named Devvati to a hermitage near Shrikant temple. Bharitachi revealed to the monkey that the girl whom he was referring as Devvati was actually her daughter Vedavati. She requested the monkey to help her in locating her lost daughter. Bharitachi proceeded towards river Kaushiki in search of Vedavati followed by the monkey. After reaching there, Bharitachi took a holy dip in the waters of Kaushiki. In the meantime, Jabli and Ritdhwaj too had reached the banks of river Kaushiki. When Jabli saw that monkey, he told his father Ritdhwaj by pointing his finger towards that monkey, "This is the same monkey who had enslaved me and tied me up with creepers." Shakuni, the master archer, became furious and sought Ritdhwaj's permission to kill that monkey. Ritdhwaj pacified him by saying, "Bondage is because of your past karmas, so it is useless to kill this poor monkey." He then requested the monkey to free his son Jabli from the weight of the 3 branches, which were still tied to his body. The monkey opened the knots and Jabli was now absolutely free. Ritdhwaj was pleased and, wanting to bless the monkey, said, "You can demand anything from me. I am willing to fulfill any of your wishes." The monkey replied by saying, "O great sage! Didn't you recognize this unfortunate monkey? I am Chitranagda's father whom you had cursed to become a monkey. Bless me that I become liberated from all my sins." Ritdhwaj blessed the monkey and said, "You would be liberated from all your sins the day you procreate a child from Bharitachi. You would also regain your human body on that day." The monkey became pleased after receiving the blessings. In course of time, Bharitachi became aware of the monkey's real identity and developed physical intimacy with it. At first, both of them stayed at Kolahal mountain, but later on, they shifted to Vindhya mountain. Meanwhile, the group of 5 people, Ritdhwaj, Jabli, Shakuni, Indradyumna and Surat, reached Saptagodavar Tirtha. All of them got down from the chariot and took bath in the holy river. The thirsty horses quenched their thirst and satisfied their hunger by grazing on the green grass. After satisfying their hunger, the horses galloped towards Hakeshwar temple. When Chitrangada, and her companions heard the galloping sound, they climbed on top of the temple and looked all around. Chitrangada saw Ritkwaj and his companions taking bath and immediately recognized him. Her companion Nandayanti too recognized Jabli. They were extremely pleased and climbed down from the rooftop of the temple. They worshipped and eulogized Lord Hakeshwar to express their gratitude. After some time, Ritkwaj and his friends arrived at the temple to worship Lord Hakeshwar. He recognized Chitrangada and was pleased to meet her. In the meantime, Bhiritachi and the monkey also arrived there. Bhiritachi was pleased to meet her daughter Vedavati and embraced her. Ritkwaj instructed the monkey to summon Guhayak from the Anjan mountain, Kandamali from the Patal Loka and the Gandharv king Pajanya from heaven respectively. Guhayak, Kandamali and Pajanya arrived at the Hakeshwar temple and all three of them were pleased to meet their respective daughters. Chitrangada, accusing herself for her father's turning into a monkey, tried to give up her life. But Ritkwaj consoled her by saying that her father would regain his human body very soon. Bhiritachi too approved his statement and said, "After 10 months, I would give birth to a son and on that same day, your father would be liberated from Sage Galav's curse and regain his human body." After 10 months, Bhiritachi gave birth to a son who later on became famous as Nala. Vishwakarma became liberated from the curse and regained his human body. Chitrangada was delighted to meet her father. A grand marriage ceremony was organized at Saptagodavar, which was witnessed by the deities, the Gandharvas and the demons. In this marriage ceremony, Sage Galav performed the rituals, after which, Jabli was married to Kandamali's daughter, Indradyumna to Vedavati, Shakuni to the Yaksh's daughter and Surat was married to Chitrangada. After the marriage ceremony, everybody returned to their respective places. After completing this story, King Danda once again requested Araja to accept his proposal. But she was not convinced and said, "Say whatever you like, but I will never surrender to your evil intentions." Sage Shukracharya curses Danda. Prahlad says, blinded by lust, Danda forcibly breached the modesty of unrelenting Araja and returned to his palace. Araja was saddened by the inability to protect her chastity and started wailing. When Shukracharya returned to his hermitage. If you enjoyed this audiobook, please like and subscribe to be notified of when new audiobooks are uploaded. Thank you for listening and learning. Shanti.